Hey, it's your old pal Slim, and this is 70mm, a podcast for movie fans just like you. Disclaimer at the top of every show, we're not experts, but we do love watching movies. With me each and every episode is my close friend and artist, Danny Haas.
Hello.
And our close friend and movie insider, Proto.
Macrophiliac.
Jesus.
Every movie that we cover is connected to a theme for that month, and this time it's Scream Queens. Proto's pick is somehow 1992's Braindead from Peter Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
And you can use the chapters in your podcast app to skip right to that discussion. Liam left a review on Letterboxd, tagged 70mm pod, quote, "Grade A sicko shit. We'll watch again and again and again." Big news this week to lead off the show. We talked about it just in the pre-show, what the big news is going to be. Get a lot of DMs, a lot of upset DMs.
Really?
Angry, like the IG filter is catching them and putting them in another folder. Sony announced a new PlayStation 5 Pro, and it costs $700, and it has no disc drive.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
There's no disc drive in a new PS5. I don't know, Proto, if you have any insights. Maybe you've talked to your gaming insiders about what might be going on at Sony HQ.
We all know physical media is either dying or dead at this point.
It's not true.
All games now are released. What do they call it? Early access. Folks, you can't even buy a finished game. How are they going to put it on a physical disc? I mean, the new Call of Duty comes out. You need 100 gigs patch for that game.
Day zero patch.
Day zero patches. What are they going to send another disc to you? That time is gone.
Yeah.
All we have left is movies on physical media.
Well, I mean, that might be going away. If Sony ends physical media, you know who, this might shock folks, you know who invented Blu-ray? That's Sony. So if Sony is removing physical drives from the PlayStation, this could be the future. This is like the warning signs that physical media is over. So I'm just saying.
The bell is tolling.
I think you should add to your repertoire of Proto Radio. Proto is when you start thoughts or sentences with folks. Folks! Put your hands up. Oh my God. Proto Radio is cooking right now for patrons. Cooking. I mean, we've had 2 episodes from you in 2 weeks. Is that right?
I'm on a hot streak. This is the hottest streak Proto Radio has ever been on. And I'm making a promise right now.
Oh my God.
That this is now a weekly show.
Oh.
And if this happens, it'll go down as one of the greatest streaks of all time. And if it doesn't happen, I'll just apologize, and there's nothing anyone can do about it.
What's the meme of the Grim Reaper walking by the doors with like the various things? Can we put V'ger on one of the dead doors and maybe V'ge bedding?
I'm the Grim Reaper.
Yes, your own ideas, and you're killing them. Oh my God. Danny, did you watch any movies this week that you want to talk about?
I did. Hold on. I got sidetracked on Letterboxd.
With your pick that you're announcing today on this episode for next week.
Yeah. Something like that. I watched the new documentary of Hayao Miyazaki. It's called Hayao Miyazaki and the Heron. They put it on Max the same time they put The Boy and the Heron on Max, and it literally follows Miyazaki from the day he retires to the day he says he's not retiring again and comes back to make this film. So it's like, I would say it's probably spans 14 years. a very long time he worked on this film. And I don't really enjoy how it was edited. I thought it was kind of weird, but it was fine. But watching the life of Miyazaki towards the end of his life is fascinating, because so many of the people he worked with on the early films and current films, like his close friends are like start dying, and he's like dealing with death as he creates this film, and his own mortality, getting old, and an absolute fantastic documentary. They've done, I think, like every documentary on Miyazaki has been great. This one was very, because it was like so geared with just the one movie that it kind of shows so much of the day to day, which was fantastic to watch. And I just love that man so much. So
they followed him for years. Like this film crew was just
they were filming him
years?
for the whole like making of this film, from scripting to sketching and then doing all the layouts. It's pretty fascinating.
Hillary in chat right now is frazzled because they say that there's many Letterboxd reviews that call out full frontal nudity in the doc. Can you confirm if there is, and then whose frontal we see?
You see Hayao's spring roll.
Excuse me.
Just kidding. It's blurred. So I don't know what people are saying. He's in like a hot spring, like with his buds. Like who doesn't hot spring with their buds in the nude?
I feel like we've hot springed countless times by this point.
No one's there to blur out my junk.
Yeah.
But they did this for us for Max, okay?
Paul says next meetup, ? You guys let us know if you're doing a hot spring summer meetup.
Won't be there. But yes, it's like opening shot too. He's just kind of Hayao in the
good for him
hot spring, but they blurred it out. Okay. Grow up.
This is a part of life, folks.
This is life.
This is life. If you can't be nude with your friends, when can you be nude?
Half the population has a penis. Okay.
Wow. I never thought of that.
Yeah.
Something to think about.
And they're all the same. I mean, it's like you've seen one, you've seen them all.
Well,
Caleb in chat, this is an interesting point. I was born nude. Sorry, I couldn't even get it out. I'm so sorry.
Oh, man. It's true, though.
Add it to the legendary moments in Caleb in the VHS Village Discord chat.
Legendary.
Okay. We need to focus up here. Let's say hello to some new patrons. Joel and Emil joined this week. Patreon.com/70mm. And patrons get access to longer and uncut episodes. And this stat may shock people, but nearly 70% of our patrons prefer listening to those longer episodes each week. Sometimes there's a half hour, sometimes there's 45 minutes extra. I mean, last week's episode was 2 hours. It was a long ep.
What did we talk about last week?
Uncut.
Oh, Psycho.
I don't remember what the heck we talked about in the uncut, though. Probably like fast food, chicken nuggets.
Yeah. The usual
fare. So there you have it. Actually, we just recorded the last Emperor episode. That's going to be only available to patrons. And next to be recorded will be Big Trouble in Little China. So that's only available for patrons, $4 a month. You get access to the whole suite of episodes. Proto, you left an amazing review for Last Emperor. Do you want to briefly maybe just talk about your experience watching that movie?
Yeah, The Last Emperor, this is from Bernardo Bertolucci, and it's dramatic. What did we call it? Historical epic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, 3 hours of your life committed to Pu Yi, The Last Emperor. Fascinating movie, fascinating guy, fascinating life. Maybe the most cucked man of all time.
Oh my gosh.
So if you're into that kind of thing, it's worth checking out. And we talked about it. Well, we covered it in the episode, but it was shot in the Forbidden City. and it's pretty incredible to get to see that footage.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to hear us three talking about a man being a cuckold for nearly an hour, then The Last Emperor episode is for you. That's all we can say. Did you watch anything else, Proto? I think that might have been it for you, right? Were you secretly watching some TV? What's going on?
I did watch one other movie. You know what? This Criterion Challenge, this might be the first and last year I do this. Because I've been considering my stats. And this is like a third of the movies that I'm watching this year to get through this. And I feel like I'm watching them all the time, and I'm still just on pace to finish for the year. Goodness. So I feel like I've been busting my back.
But you probably have the most diverse range of filmmakers out of the three of us by this point, right? For like your yearly stats. Like I just looked at mine, it's still Tim Heidecker somehow. I feel like I haven't watched anything on cinema, but they're at the top of the list somehow.
That's an interesting point. Yeah, I haven't looked at my stats, but I'm all over the place. You know, I've been watching a lot of older movies, and the one I watched this week was Federico Fellini's movie from 1960, La Dolce Vita.
Oh my!
Which I've heard this movie talked about a lot. It appears on a lot of lists. Greatest of all time lists, I think. But it's an Italian movie. It's a black and white. Much beloved. It has a 4.3 on Letterboxd. I was not in love with this movie. It's long. It's almost 3 hours long, and it has like this like almost no plot. You're not really sure what's supposed to be happening, but it's kind of like it kind of like builds on the same themes as the movie goes on. So like once you're 2 hours in, you're kind of like, oh, I kind of understand what the movie's about. But you have to get that far to kind of wrap your head around it. And it was really hard for me to for it to hold my interest. It kind of reminded me of Louis Buñuel, his movies. And we did The Exterminating Angel of his, which I did not like. And I watched another one of his movies this year. I did not like it. So I was like borderline like 1 or 2 stars for this.
Jeez.
After the first 2 hours. But the last hour is pretty cool. I really liked it. It's what is it about? It follows this journalist, Marcello, and he kind of is hoity-toity with the upper crust where he works in Rome. And it's like all these vignettes of them just living like upper class life, and plays on these themes of how like they kind of have everything in the world, but their lives are hollow. And it's just kind of like that for 3 hours. But the last hour has like this incredible set in like this. It's in this mansion. Then they go to like one wing of the mansion, and it's completely like run down and decrepit, and they don't care for it at that point. But the shots in that scene are just like amazing. It honestly reminded me of the original Dracula. Like it was just like amazing lighting. I after watching, I was like, man, I wonder if Fellini ever did a vampire movie, because it feels like he would have been perfect for it. But I just looked, and it doesn't. He has like a few some horror work, but I don't think anything serious. So that was like my movie of the week. I started another one for this list. It's 4 hours long, folks.
Oh my God. Jeez.
Yeah. So I'm
Please take care of yourself.
Yeah. I'm
first and foremost.
I'm trying to stay healthy. So please pray.
What do I want to talk about? We have to give out for a year of Letterboxd patron to one of our new patrons. Every week we give out a free year. Disclaimer, I'm an employee at Letterboxd. Gets rid of ads. You get custom backdrops, posters, crew images, streaming notifications. So Emil joined this week. You get a free year of Letterboxd patron. Congratulations.
Congrats.
What do I want to talk about this week? What did I watch?
You watched a lot of stuff. Just a lot of stuff came through.
I some of the stuff I just forgot to log. I forgot to log Valkyrie. I'm not sure if I even did I talk about that on the show? It was like a month ago I watched that. Tom Cruise for my somewhat retired Tom Cruise retrospective podcast called Interview with the Podcast Vampire. I gave it 3 stars, and I can disclose that today we recorded our Night and Day episode.
Oh my gosh.
Cameron Diaz and Tom Cruise action, romance, comedy.
Drama.
Thriller.
Horror.
I feel like nobody has seen this movie
No.
since like Letterboxd was created.
No.
I actually looked into the kind of stats for the movie, and it's like 90%, 95% of the logs took place in 2012. There's like nobody watching this movie. It's got a low average. I thought Tom was great in it. It might shock everybody. I thought he was funny. Mm-hmm. He has a lot of like comedic moments. And part of the episode was us just like, when was the last time Tom Cruise was in a modern movie where he can kind of be funny, like accidental or otherwise?
The Mummy.
That comes into the accidental, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So I recommend people give it a shot. It's on Max. I rewatched the Babadook,
Oh my gosh.
and the Murmuring because
I saw the Murmur log job. I haven't seen that.
Oh God, that's in that Guillermo del Toro Cabinet of Curiosities.
Oh, is that what that was from?
It's the last episode in that anthology, and it was by the time this episode comes out, maybe it'll be out already. But I rewatched this stuff because I just recorded a Babadook 10th anniversary Jennifer Kent reads Letterboxd reviews.
Oh goodness, did she read mine?
Unfortunately, she did not read yours.
I should probably log some.
So it was like, I am a huge Jennifer Kent fan. So that is essentially, why I was kind of tagged in, mainly because I think like one of my first Letterboxd reviews is the greatest horror film ever made. So it was a pleasure to meet her. She was a hoot. She was a great, person to read Letterboxd reviews on camera. So I'm excited for that to get cut up and released. And people should watch The Murmuring. Essie Davis back again with Jennifer Kent. And Proto's boy, Andrew Lincoln from The Walking Dead. In that.
Oh my God. Andrew, come on.
Not Penny's boat.
That is not him. That sounds like something I would say. Like when I said when I said Dublin was in England last week or the week before that.
The DMs we got.
My God.
The unsubscribes.
We almost started another war.
I was pretty proud of that one. Should we get into the movie? Is there anything else we want to talk about? Danny's pick. Just a reminder, Danny's pick for next week, which if you were a betting man, I mean, some people might have, if there was a betting apparatus in our Discord.
Of what I was going to pick?
I have a lot of money on what Danny's going to pick.
I think I might have a lot of money on Danny's pick too.
There's no way. Can you see my search history on Letterboxd?
No, I cannot.
Cheater.
I have it down to 2 movies.
Say them. Say them now.
All right. You want me to say them right now? Proto?
Say them now.
Okay. I think it will either be Brian De Palma's Carrie.
Okay.
Or Ridley Scott's Alien. Proto, do you want to make any bold predictions before?
Carrie was also my prediction.
Oh.
Yeah. I can safely say no one's ever
save it. We'll save it for the end of the show.
Save it for the end of the show. We'll see who collects the winnings.
Someone's got to
after
collect
the show.
Winnings.
We'll see who collects the winnings. Peter Jackson, 1992. Episode 236 of 70mm Pod, Braindead. This is Proto's pick for Scream Queens, a very left field pick. I think we can all agree.
Yes.
Very left field. Nobody was going to guess this pick.
Inspired pick.
This is on the foul line.
There's the umpires are debating. The umpires are commiserating. They're making a decision on if this fits in to the pitch, the field. Proto, what's this movie
It's up
about?
in the booth for review. Paquita is a young woman looking for her destined true love and thinks she has found it in Lionel, a young man who lives under the thumb of his overbearing mother, Vera. On a trip to the zoo, Lionel's mother is bit by an exotic rat monkey from Sumatra. She transforms into a zombie, but even that does not end Lionel's devotion to his mother, as he continues to care for her and anyone else she bites. Eventually, Lionel must bequeath his mother's estate to his uncle on grounds of blackmail for having a horde of zombies locked in his basement. During a house party, unfortunately, the zombies are let loose and zombify the attendees, whom Lionel neutralizes with his lawnmower. But can Lionel bring himself to end his mother and finally be free from her grasp? Braindead.
New Zealand zombie comedy splatter film. That's what the wiki calls it. I thought that was a pretty interesting little sentence. Peter Jackson, young buck Peter Jackson. He has a cameo in this movie.
Does he? Where is he at?
He's in the, is it the hospital room, the morgue? When, doesn't he give him the serum? Remember that guy with the glasses? It's essentially, he looked just like Peter Jackson, but without a beard. Maybe that'll jog your memory.
Oh, the embalming scene?
Yeah.
Is that what? Oh my God. I didn't notice that.
Maybe if someone has a screenshot. He was the assistant, Paul says.
Oh, wow.
Peter Jackson memories. I feel like most people listening to the show probably were Lord of the Rings. Maybe that was like the first Peter Jackson thing that they saw. It was probably mine too. I feel like I'd seen The Frighteners, but that doesn't necessarily mean I knew who Peter Jackson was at the time. So what about you, Danny? Did you have anything pre-LOTR? Were you aware of Peter Jackson at all before those movies, or was that it?
No. And I wouldn't even say I was even aware of Peter Jackson while watching the Lord of the Rings movies at the time. Enough to be oh, this director is amazing. But nothing before Lord of the Rings I saw that I can think of was Peter Jackson. I've never seen The Frighteners either, so.
Oh.
Or his other, whatever's before this, even. With the gross
Bad
Taste. Bad Taste.
And then Meet the Feebles was before that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so no.
Yeah.
Proto, same question to you.
Yeah, Lord of the Rings was my introduction as well. I almost was going to say, did King Kong come first? But obviously, no, that came after. I'm a huge King Kong fan. Peter Jackson's King Kong, by the way. Yeah, I mean, and with Lord of the Rings, yeah, you're right. It's I was young, but I think it was just but when you look at his filmography, did anyone see Peter Jackson movies? The general audience have any idea who this guy was when Lord of the Rings was coming out? I would guess no. So, yeah.
New Zealand, probably. Anyone living in New Zealand maybe was a quiet Peter Jackson fan, perhaps. After Braindead, he did this movie called Heavenly Creatures that I'm actually interested in watching. Melanie Linsky and Kate Winslet. It's a 3.8 average, but it doesn't look like it's streaming anywhere right now. It just doesn't look like the follow-up to Braindead. Yes. It's so his first 3 movies, Frighteners maybe is what seems like a logical one, maybe a more mainstream funny horror. But it's just so wild to kind of see where his career went from kind of making these lower budget gore practical effects. I guess you can say the practical effects are the clue, but I don't see anything before Lord of the Rings. But I have seen Braindead before. I have seen Bad Taste. Have not seen Meet the Feebles. I mean, that movie looks weird. Even just the poster, it's just puppets and.
It looks like it could be banned in different countries.
It's a video nasty, maybe. But I'm actually interested in watching The Frighteners again. I have it at 2 stars from 2020, but people seem to like it. Although I feel vindicated. Art gave it 2.5 stars. Michael J. Fox. All right, so we'll go around the room, talk about this movie. This is a big popular viewing, at least judging from the logs that I saw coming into our Discord and Letterboxd. It's on YouTube, so if people want to watch it. And I do want to get into Proto's thoughts on King Kong later tonight, maybe in the uncut. I want to dig deeper into that comment if possible. Proto, what's the top of your list for this movie, this gore fest?
I have to start by talking about just how gross this movie is. I don't think I've had a visceral reaction to a movie in the same way that I did to watching Braindead. There's like I can be squeamish for a movie. Like I'm thinking of like recent movies. The other movie that comes to mind is Titan that I saw. That was a recent movie I watched maybe 2 years ago, and like I had to turn away from the screen just based on what I was seeing. But that was more of like body gore stuff that like it just made me uncomfortable to look at it. This movie though, when the mom eats her own ear in the pudding, I physically gagged.
Oh my God. Stop.
And I don't think a movie has ever made me do that. Like, I think that was a first for me, where it was so gross and like so visceral. I was afraid that I was going to throw up. And I was like sick to my stomach after that point, which I then...
That's early in the film.
Damn fine custard.
That's like the first 20 minutes, maybe.
Rich and creamy, just the way I like it.
I know.
Holy crap.
So I think, and I spoilers, I watch a lot of movies over 2 nights. So I think at the hour mark, I hit pause and then like continued it the next day. But that night too, I got by the last act of this movie, it made me squeamish again, where I could feel it in my stomach. And that is just like, I can't think of any other movie that's done that. Like, have you seen other movies that have this same, like, force the same kind of reaction?
I don't think I've seen a gory movie that made me ill. Like, I consider like that pudding scene where
I'm gonna take my headphones off.
Even before her ear falls in the pudding. Like, doesn't she pop? Doesn't something pop?
Stop.
Like, the blood shoots into the other dude's pudding. And then he eats that and he's like loving it. And then even before that, her face is peeled off. Like the skin flap on her face. Yeah. And he like applies the skin back to her face. I mean, and then also I think even before that, when the wound on her arm.
Oh my God. Yeah. It's pulsating.
Like, the zooming in on the liquid coming out of her arm, it reminded me of, what's the type of glue you can get in grade school?
Elmer's.
It's not Elmer's. It's like a see-through liquid. Does anyone and it comes with like a brush.
Oh, that's cement.
It has a full name, right? Is it just cement glue?
Rubber cement.
Rubber cement. It looked like rubber cement pus coming out of her arm because she like grabs it and it's like sticking to something. Oh my God, it was so foul. It was foul, but that's also only the first 20 minutes. And like that could be, if it never happens again in the movie, you'd still be like, oh my God, that scene.
Yeah.
But bucko, there's another hour and 20 left. And it's
there's
just
100 more scenes that are, if not worse.
And they all get almost progressively worse than that, I feel like. Danny, had you ever seen something like that?
I was trying to think when Proto said it. I don't know that I don't know what could even come close to the gore in this film that I've seen. I mean, not my wuss self watching horror movies. There's no way I've seen anything worse than this. Besides, like, as a kid, Googling, like, faces of death movies.
Oh,
That's
like
about it.
Car accident.
Yeah.
Crime scene photos.
But this is horrific.
I mean, can we safely say your wife DNF'd this movie?
Oh, she definitely DNF'd
Casey
this.
did not finish.
It was funny because, so the way I'm sitting now, my back is like to our master bedroom. And it was just us home for the day. The kids were in school and I'm working. And she has the movie streaming straight to her Bluetooth hearing aids. So I can't hear the film, but I can hear her reaction to the film. And all I'm hearing is, ew, ew, I was dying laughing listening to her watch this film. I
mean,
I hadn't seen it yet at the time.
This is also a movie that, like, if you use headphones with,
I could.
like,
There's
you're
no
hearing
way.
everything: the
The
popping, the shooting, the cracking. How about when the baby comes through that woman's face?
My God.
When the thing comes through the face? Oh my God. Love that baby.
I love the idea that Casey spent her few sacred hours alone in the home watching Braindead.
And didn't even finish it.
I mean, how long did she make it before she bailed out? What's the time? What was the time
I think she
stamp?
said she had like 20 minutes left.
Wow.
She couldn't do it.
That's rough. I mean, I can piggyback onto Proto's point as mine, but it's like the practical effects of it. Like, this is inspiring stuff. Practical effects. I mean, it's like inspiring that a younger filmmaker can do this, and almost, I think he was like in charge of it all pretty much, and eventually, you know, it formed Weta.
Richard Taylor, yeah. He was a part of it too.
It's like, it looks really good. Like, this is a shoestring budget, but everything looks amazing. Like, the gore, say we will about it, but it looks amazing. Like, the costumes, the zombification of all these characters. Like, when the horny karate priest is making out with the other zombie, and she rips off his face.
Insane.
And then the girl's neck, like her head comes off.
Oh yeah.
And also another sick scene when he's like, her head is off, but he still tries to feed her through the hole on her neck.
Stop.
But man,
he
I mean,
bends the head back too, and like keeps coming out of her
it's
throat.
So gross.
Jesus,
but they were like at the top of their game in 1992 for practical effects. So that's the standout thing for me. Like, yeah, gore fest, slapstick, but like, they did all this stuff and it looks great.
Yeah, and it's like chock full of these effects. Like, it's not like, oh, they did a scene here, they did a scene here. It's like the whole movie, every single shot is some kind of insane effect. And like if you were to pause the movie and like think about the work that would go into like to get one of these right. Like, the dude's like the guy's head in the blender of like figuring out how to like even do that, to set up that shot. I mean, all like the stop motion stuff that was done with like that intestines creature of like, you know, slinking along and like attaching to people's feet and then like pulling them, and then the little face that it had. Like, it boggles my mind the amount of work that was put into all this stuff.
Yeah.
What's also crazy is nothing is repeated. It feels like there's no like effect that keeps getting used over and over again. So like, it felt like each individual person that met their fate had a very unique, gory, prosthetic filled, you know, death. So to like, the guy that gets his like half his body ripped off, like pulled through the door, but it like leaves his leg bones and shoes on.
His little legs.
Oh, his little legs. I was dying. Holy shit. And then that baby thing. The baby, when he's beating the hell out of that baby in the park.
My God.
While the other moms watched along.
Where was Oscar? Where was Oscar for this movie and that baby?
He deserved it.
Him nailing down the placenta or the umbilical cord of that baby.
Oh, yeah.
So it wouldn't get away.
There was an amazing scene. I mean, the editing is like one of my other top three, but like the scene where the baby is punched into the guy's nuts and then the baby gets a wig falls onto the baby's head. It's like the greatest editing I've ever seen in a movie ever. Like, just those like 3 gags that happen like right after that. And I think this is right around where that woman gets like punched through the back of her neck and it comes out of her mouth.
Gosh.
Like, there's just so much happening in a span of 30 seconds or less. It's insane. Danny, top of your list.
It's the final boss mother. The giant prosthetic puppet mom thing at the end.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know what to expect. I mean, the hands, you see that like the hands
So cool.
kind of rip apart the shadow of the one guy in the basement. And then they like just like start coming out of the ground and they're like reaching for them. And then you finally see her tits and all just hanging there. I couldn't believe what I was looking at on screen. And her stomach opening and eating him alive.
Oh my God, that was gross.
The amount of blood that pours out of her when he pokes her with that charm thing. I couldn't believe what I was watching.
There's so much blood.
I felt like every turn, I'm like, I can't believe what I'm watching right now.
Yeah. It's so insane that like everything that came before it, it's like Jackson, you've had to have blown your wad at this point. Right. No, you got to deal with Mother still. And Mother is like this giant monster animatronic creature now that is just like larger than life and on top of the house, like that set of like how they set that up. It's like, it's incredible.
I feel like we saw some proto Lord of the Rings camera trickery in this, right? Like when the mother first shows up, I feel like I saw a few trick angle shots to kind of show her size, like where she was in the background, but actually the foreground and stuff.
Yeah.
Also her going up the stairs too was probably like some trickery.
They used that location too in the beginning. It looked exactly like Return of the King.
No. The Five Armies?
Nope.
Like looking up at the house, you mean?
No, when they're stealing the monkey rat thing. The very beginning.
Yeah.
In those caverns where they like were Aragorn and Legolas and Gimli ride off to get the undead people. It looked like the same exact location.
I mean, both shot in New Zealand, so
it's true. For all we know, it was the same location.
Or actually, that, you know what? Now that you say that, like when they're down there in the river, that kind of looked like when they're going to Rivendell and they stop the ring wraiths, the water.
He's just using what he knows best.
Wow. Proto, next on your list.
This movie is so funny. There's so many gags that are great, of course, but there's something about like just the what's the right word for it? I guess just like almost like the sense of humor that's communicated even through like the camera work and the editing and the use of like the wide angle of like zooming into characters' faces, the line deliveries that they have. There was just like an air of like comedy that this had as well, that it didn't even have to be like a gag, but there was just something funny about like how the characters moved and like how everyone was dressed and how they would like deliver their lines, that I was pretty much like laughing through the whole movie with everything. Like early on, even like the scene when they're in the zoo and like you see the rat monkey and just like the puppet work that's done with that. And then like the mother getting bit and then like stomping it out with her heel.
Oh my God.
Just like everything about it. It just seemed like it's like Peter Jackson, like a comedic genius.
Yeah.
I just couldn't get over how funny I found everything in this.
I also feel like this type of slapstick isn't done really ever anymore. ? Like, I don't know. It's like hard to do, but the way he edited the movie I'm sorry, did Peter Jackson edit the movie? Let me see. Jamie Selkirk edited the movie. But the way it was like just paced and edited and written, it's like the ideal formula for slapstick stuff. You're right. Like everything works so well. And it's kind of like the fun, snappy editing that would inspire like other filmmakers, like with the budget and everything that they were able to do together, like a small group.
Well, I
like,
kept thinking of Shaun of the Dead. Like completely had to have inspired Edgar Wright.
Yeah. And I wonder like why Braindead isn't talked about as much as like an Evil Dead type thing. It doesn't look like it's streaming. There's like kind of like a Blu-ray, but it's like $30. So I wonder if general availability of this movie when compared to something like Evil Dead is different. But then you also have like the Campbell aspect of it. And, you know, he'll do a book tour every 3 weeks to promote the movie. But Maybe that had something to do with it, because I feel like this is, on that level of lore of like filmmaking. Like, look what Peter Jackson and friends were able to do. Like, you could do this.
It almost feels too close to Evil Dead, though, right? I've never seen Evil Dead's, but it almost felt like he felt like dollar store Bruce Campbell. And he comes in with the lawnmower instead of a chainsaw.
Right.
And it's like, I don't know, maybe just, I don't know. It just, for me, I felt like whenever you shared either like the event in Discord or something, and it had like a banner image, and I thought
it did look like it, yeah.
I thought you had shared an Evil Dead image as like a joke.
Right.
But I feel like so much of this was so close to Evil Dead, and for whatever reason, that took off over this. I don't even know what the dates were different wise. When did Evil Dead come out?
Evil Dead was like the late 80s, I think mid to late 80s.
Evil Dead is actually 81. So,
oh my gosh.
I mean, maybe
a decade out.
Yeah, I mean, in 81, Jackson was 20. So it very well could have inspired him, seeing that.
Yeah, and you could say also too that like that slapstick humor and the fast editing and the camera stuff is very much like Raimi. Like, what was the one Raimi movie that came out that nobody really loved it? Drag Me to Hell. Like, Drag Me to Hell has that kind of snappy Raimi funny stuff and the editing that people loved in Evil Dead. But like, I don't know, I feel like nobody talks about Drag Me to Hell that much. But I think that's just as good, if not better than, his earlier stuff. Is it my turn? I think the editing was kind of my number 2. But Danny, you're number 2.
Let me pull back up. I think the thing that I disliked the most about this, especially with the amount of gore and kind of comedy, I didn't love the story. Like, it wasn't like, I just wasn't, it felt boring. Like, boring, not like I was bored because I was still sick and kind of laughing, and the gore and the prosthetics were amazing to watch. But it was like, the story just doesn't, I'm not like along for the ride with the story. Like, I don't care what happens. Maybe you're not supposed to, but I really hated the story.
I mean,
it's dumb.
It's an odd story. Like,
it made no sense to me.
Maybe
at all.
Like, I mean, the like sheltered mother boy, taking care of, his mother his whole life, and he can't get a girlfriend and is now forced to take over these dead people and like take care of them.
Synopsis for Joker.
Proto, what did you think of this story?
Yeah, well, I feel like I think there was parts that didn't really make sense to me, and in that way, it felt like it was all just a setup for like the finale in a lot of ways. Like, him caring, like why is he caring for these zombies in his basement? Like, why would you not just chop these people up? Like, if I had zombies, I would not be taking care of them and tie them in my basement, right? Like, first of all, I'm calling the authorities. Second of all, I'm putting them into a blender or something. So like that, his motivation to like preserve them, that's like half of the movie. Right. The middle part of this movie is all of that, of him like hiding them and keeping them, or even like the whole funeral thing where like he keeps like trying to like sedate his mom because he knows she's going to come back. Like, why? And of course you could say, well, it's all just for the gags, but it is kind of like it felt a little just, a little off.
It also feels like the main character was almost Buster Bluth. Like, if this happened to Buster, like, how would Buster react from Arrested Development? And I almost feel like these are the things that Buster would do, and like take care of the zombies and try to hide them.
Mama.
No time for a girlfriend.
Yeah.
Also, how about it takes place in the 50s too. That's like another.
That was in the 50s?
Yeah, this was set in the 50s, wasn't it?
Oh.
Yeah. When I first like saw the cars, that like threw me for a loop. I was like, what year is this? Like, what is going on in New Zealand? Have they never left the
Oh, interesting.
Katie in chat says 1957. There were some cool scenes, like the model airplane, like for the flight scene. And then I feel like the city was models as well, right?
It was.
Yeah.
Oh, let me find this for you. I found an amazing photo of Peter in his model city. I'll drop it in.
Please.
There you go.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah,
King
yeah.
Kong
I mean, the
Mug.
trolleys, you can totally tell that there's stop motion
Yeah.
as they're moving. It looked like Mr. Rogers.
What's the watch he's wearing, Dan? Did you already investigate this?
No.
That looks like almost like a Seiko TV case.
What is that?
Proto. Final point?
Oh, final point. Let's see. We talked about a lot. I love how colorful all the characters were in this. Even just like the guy eating the pudding. I don't think he ever.
Oh
I was
my
waiting for
God.
him to come
Stop
back
with the pudding.
as like I thought they were going to end the movie with like everything's resolved, and then it like cuts to him like turning into a zombie because he ate like the blood.
Yeah.
But they never really bring that back. But the other character is the uncle,
Oh my God.
who is just like
Lord have mercy.
unreal. Like he does this one move where he's like rubbing his crotch.
Yeah, I
Excuse me.
saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, there was so much stuff that was like borderline in this movie. Like, I don't think you get away with these things
No.
anymore.
Mm-mm.
But that like I loved his like journey at the end there of just like he sees these zombies and the way he was like killing them and surviving with Paquita and Lionel in the same way. Yeah, he was a lot of fun.
Yeah, all these characters were like to the 10th level. Like, what was his death? Did he turn into this? Was his spine walking around with his head on it? Or was
Oh,
that a different
yes.
character? I can't remember.
I think that was him. Yeah.
That was a cool special effect.
Yeah, that was insane.
Didn't she beat somebody with a spine and head? Paquita?
Maybe.
Anything could
I don't
happen in this film.
On the uncut version that's available on YouTube, you can kind of see the like deleted scenes that were added back in because
Yeah,
the
that was
color
very-
profile was like
very
the
interesting.
film wasn't really cleaned up and stuff. That was funny.
That's because they shot it in 16 millimeter instead of 35 to save money
Oh,
for prosthetics.
was Get Back 16 millimeter? Can we
I don't know.
let's get some AI Peter Jackson machine learning to clean this movie up? Maybe
Is that the Rolling Stones
Oh my God.
documentary?
it is. I'm not going to do the impression. I refuse. Damn. My final point is probably the baby. I mean, the baby scenes are so good. Like when he tries to take the baby to the park and he's just punching the baby, swinging around. Oh my God.
Insane.
Every scene with the baby. I mean, I have so many just like random lines.
When she hits the baby with the frying pan and the face like molds to the pan. Stupid.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
It also looks so corny too when they actually had a child in the costume just like walking around. It's like obviously different than what, there's just a doll being thrown around the set. I just have so many like honorable mentions, like him running on the blood. Remember when he like isn't getting
God,
anywhere because he's
Flintstones out of
running
there.
on the blood?
Yeah.
The karate priest, we haven't really even talked about. His entire scene is nuts.
Blessed with an abundance of mother love.
Dude, how about when the priest and the nurse start doing it on the floor
Oh my
in the
God.
middle of the end?
And then the uncle like hears it, and what does he say? He
Is it
like
the
thinks
one
it's
with
the
the donkey?
porn that he found.
Is it
Oh
the
my
one with
God.
the donkey or something?
Yes, I wrote that down. What? That was so strange. Is that the one with the donkey and the chambermaid? Dandy, final point.
I'm out of points.
Honorable mentions rating from Danny.
I mean, I'll always be impressed with the amount of prosthetic work, stop motion, miniature, the physical sets in this and the gore is unreal. I think it was like 80 gallons of fake blood used in that last scene alone. But also, I'll never watch this movie again. It sucks. I'm at 1 star for it.
One
my
star.
God.
Oh my.
Wow.
We
Yeah.
saw The Way the Wind Was Blowing with Casey's DNF. We can try to triangulate Danny's rating from how that goes, I think.
Yeah.
Two
This
peas
is
in-
optics. A lot of
Two
optics
peas in a
going on.
pod over here.
Proto honorable mentions.
Anyone
Final
higher
rating?
than 1 star, I need on a list. I need you guys on an official list, a watch list.
I think the beginning of this movie might have been a Raiders of the Lost Ark parody or
Homage.
an homage with them just like running away.
Oh, and then the
'cause, like,
guys, he had to he was fishing, but he had to get the Jeep to start up like Jock.
yeah, and he's telling him to go, and then he's like, catching up to him.
How great when they had to cut off his limbs because they saw the bites and they just found more bites every time they cut off a limb.
Stupid.
The scene where the mother gets hit by the trolley and then flies through the window and then grabs his foot. All timer.
Yeah.
The uncle calling the baby, "You mutant little shit." I love the idea that like everyone in their basement has like a gallon jug of poison at the ready.
Yeah. Dude, how great was that transformation scene where they leapt up in the basement with like the blue light behind them and then they did the Jaws dolly shot? Oh my God, that looked awesome.
That was another thing in this where there was like great lighting at the end, like that whole house, the way it was all lit, and even like just a small scene where they'd like be running through a hallway. It was just like had this really great dynamic lighting. Yeah, to me there was like so much to love about this movie. I agree, like it's the grossest movie I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
The plot, the story, you could take it or leave it. But I had such a good time watching this. Like I was laughing my head off. It's so gross, but so much fun. I'm at 4 stars.
Wow.
Put me on the list.
Dry heaving be damned.
I'm making it now.
Sending it to the FBI. Some mentions I have. I don't remember what scene this even is, but we are romantically entangled. Who said that line? I don't even remember.
Oh, Paquita.
She said it like 10 times.
Yeah. Because that's how it starts. Yeah.
Her tarot.
The noise of her arm wound looks like glue. The custard audio. Can't wait to add that into the final edited version of this.
I'm not listening to that.
That's my mother you're pissing on. That was when those kids, I forgot about that. The kids were pissing on the grave. That is a great sentence. Then my next line, the pisser dies and flies into the air. I just remember. Oh yeah, her hand comes out and grabs him like right in the crotch. The priest's face. There's also a scene where like this dude's face skin, he like gets de-sleeved. Speaking of which, this is a weird memory.
Me.
I remember my early days on the internet and hearing like the phrase
I can't listen to
like
this.
it's
I can't listen to this.
degloved.
Oh, yeah. Oh.
Like don't even just trust me on this. Don't Google getting degloved. Danny's eyes are closed and he's like sitting back. Nightmare fuel, folks. Let's see.
I
Just sit back and relax. We're almost through this. We'll get to your pick in a second.
I'm nervous about my pick.
Dude's torso gets torn off. Amazing. That was with his little legs dangling. Like they were bent too. Like they were kind of like moving.
And his boots stayed on. That was the best too.
Oh my God. Yeah, that's like it's just so fun. Like this had to have inspired so many people to be like, I could do this. I can have fun with my friends. We can make our own movie. 4 stars still for Braindead. Enjoyable, gross, and inspiring, I think. Okay, so next week is actually, do we have any reviews? I keep forgetting to do this. Proto, is there any tagged reviews for a 70mm pod on Letterboxd from our community that you want to maybe spotlight before we hear Danny's pick?
Let's see. I mean, that Liam one at the top of the show is great.
Mm-hmm.
How about this one? Runny eggs was not a good choice to eat while watching.
God.
This is from Danny.
That was my breakfast.
Is this the key to the 1 star?
Sort by Danny's 1-star ratings and see how often he mentions runny eggs while watching.
It's a good
I
point.
mean, also, Yoev says, I have to stop eating while watching films like this.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah. Everyone, please put down the forks
Yes.
while watching
Please
Braindead.
God.
When he pulls the dog out of her mouth,
Oh my God. I
the
forgot
kid
about
is
that.
like, she ate my dog, and he goes, not all of it.
Oh my God.
So gross.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of love for this in our community. The sickest practical effects I have ever seen from Joe Jazzy. Don't you just hate it when you can't keep your zombies from boinking?
Oh my gosh.
That's from Lily. I don't know if I can say boinking on the show, but
I'm going to have to edit that out.
yeah.
Nice too.
Our friend Throwbridge, he wants charges brought up against the Foley artist for this movie. The sound effects alone. That guy got a payday, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah. Got a long career probably after this.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of watches, a lot of love for it, but obviously gross.
Yeah.
But I was very happy because it seemed like a lot of people had fun watching this.
Scream Queens rolls on. We have 2 weeks left. Danny's is next. We announced what our thoughts were.
Your bets. What was your bet, Proto?
Carrie,
Oh, Carrie. That's right.
you're gonna spite change it. I know it.
Yeah, he probably had. He
Casey
always
can-
has spite picks.
Casey
like, in
knows
the
what I'm
back.
picking. She can vouch that this is what I told her. She can
Casey's
show the
asleep. She's
timestamp
asleep.
texts I sent her. Okay?
Okay.
Okay.
I was locked, and then I unlocked, and then I locked again tonight. So you were right, Slim. It was going to be Alien, but I changed my mind. Because this movie kept coming up, and I've actually been afraid to watch this movie, if I could be honest. I've never seen it. 1974's Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
What the
my
French?
God.
It's about to celebrate its 50th anniversary. I've been too afraid to watch this film. And it's like on every Scream Queens list. Marilyn Burns is like considered the OG final girl. So here we are. I want to watch it.
I can't believe what I'm hearing right now.
Yeah.
Let's listen. I mean, here's the synop. 5 friends head out to rural Texas to visit the grave of a grandfather. On the way, they stumble across what appears to be a deserted house, only to discover something sinister within, something armed with a chainsaw.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't we see a trailer for this in front of Psycho?
Yes.
We did, yeah.
We did. That was a part of my turning of the screw.
Art in chat says, quote, so unsettling.
Yeah, that trailer in front of Psycho was bonkers too. That was unnerving.
This is streaming on every streaming service imaginable.
There's no excuse.
And if I remember correctly, they release a new 4K of this every 3 weeks.
Right.
And all the boutique boys, they're losing it.
They're boutiquing
They're
themselves.
losing it in their shorts every release of this movie.
Deaf
Yeah.
Crocodile proudly presents.
Okay, I've seen this a few times.
Yeah. I've seen your log jobs. I didn't see one from Proto though.
I've
so
never
I thought-
seen it.
Yeah.
I think that trailer is the
my
most I've ever
gosh.
seen. So
I don't know what it is about it, but I've always been like, I don't know if I'm brave enough to watch this one. I don't know why. It just really freaks me out. So I just figured I'd bite the bullet.
This changed
with
a
my
nation,
friends.
this movie. An
Yeah.
entire nation. Toby Hooper,
Mm-hmm.
the master himself, Salem's Lot, Poltergeist, Invaders from Mars, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2,
Oh, he's the second one.
Spontaneous Combustion, and many more.
Crocodile.
Crocodile, Life Force. I had a good time watching Life Force. Okay. Toby back on the pod for the first time. Have we ever done? Oh, we did Poltergeist.
Poltergeist, yeah.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
did.
wow.
Remember the horrific DVD art re-release for Poltergeist? When I think we did Poltergeist and they were just releasing it
Oh
in 4K.
my gosh, terrible.
Absolute junk. Proto, any closing thoughts after your Scream Queens pick, and now we head into Texas Chainsaw Massacre?
Yeah, I just want to throw it out there. We have a blog. We have a blog on our website, BABADOOK.com/blog. I think that's the address. If not, you'll find it. But we have nice little posts there about the movies we cover. If you're going to buy the movie we cover, you could purchase it through an affiliate link that we have. You want to help the show? Why don't you do it there?
Oh,
There you go.
I thought we were going to hear from Rings of Power.
No, cut that.
No one wants to hear what I have to say about Rings of Power.
Uncut.
We made that
God.
clear last week, so it's fine.
I didn't say anything about Rings
It's
of Power last
fine.
week. We'll see everybody next week, where hopefully Proto is in a better mood. "70mm" is a tape deck production featuring original artwork provided by Danny Haas. Spiritual guidance and V'ger, the robot who loves movies, provided by Pertalexis. Producer at large Dale_A. And music composed by Cinematrix. Prints and other merch are available on 70mmpod.com. This episode was mixed, edited, and produced by me, Slim. Support our Patreon for access to our VHS Village Discord to talk movies with new friends, access to our exclusive episodes in the 70mm vault, discounts on merch, uncut episodes, and a physical membership card mailed to you. To check out other Tape Deck podcasts, find the link in the episode notes. And if you'd like to support our friends at Letterboxd and upgrade to Pro or Patron status, you can do so with a 20% off discount using the links on 70mmpod.com. Goodbye.
This is a Tape Deck podcast.